One mystical hack to posting content online is imagine that you are talking to an audience of 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, 1,000,000 people. It's a very powerful way to weave the energies of your message spreading out throughout the human collective. As spiritual creators, we're told to post on Instagram 3 times a day, dance on Reels, and chase every single algorithm like it's a full-time job. And honestly, it's exhausting. Plus, I have a full-time job. I don't have time for that. When I co-founded iBen's Academy, I went from 0 to a 6-figure business without following or chasing anything about the algorithm. We pretty much did the opposite of what all those Instagram experts are preaching all the time. The most successful spiritual creators on Instagram aren't hustling 24/7. They're aligned, intentional, and they treat their Instagram as a sacred space, not as a race. So today, I'm sharing how you can grow your Instagram account without the burnout. I found a strategy that resonates with my goals, my business, and is in full integrity of how I want to show up, not only in my business, but the world. This strategy is rooted in my spiritual integrity, not overwhelm. I know firsthand how overwhelming building an Instagram profile can feel, especially when you're building a business that's aligned to your soul's calling or your spiritual mission. You're not just posting to the algorithm. You're posting to support, to connect, and to help make the world a better place with your unique superpowers or message that you want to share with the world. But what happens when your energy starts to dip? Your creativity dries up, and showing up on Instagram feels more draining than divine. Believe me, I've been there. That's why I created a system that works with your energy, uses mystical practices, all while growing your Instagram reach. In this video, I'm going to walk you through my mystical Instagram strategy, including how to plan content without burning out, how to grow it without faking it, and how to use your intuition as your #1 marketing tool. Because here's the truth, you don't have to sacrifice your integrity to grow. In fact, forcing yourself to show up when you're not in a high frequency state is pretty much the opposite of what you're trying to achieve with your mystical or spiritual business. When you burn yourself out, that will stall you as an entrepreneur, not enable your growth or expand your reach. So let's start with what no one's telling you. Most Instagram strategies are built for influencers, not intuitives. They assume you have unlimited energy, a team behind you, and a brand that thrives on high volume content. It will cost you more than it earns. The first shift is moving from hustle to harmony. So ask yourself, what kind of content feels inspiring to create? Not just what performs well or what's the latest trend that you've seen on Reels or Stories, but what leaves you feeling energized and inspired, not depleted. I was really late joining the Instagram game. I first created my account back in 2020. I made about 20 posts, half of them which were photos about my food or lunch of the day. And then I didn't post anything for literally 5 years. To be honest, I didn't know how to use Instagram or what I was even going to use it for. I created mystictwist with the intent that it would somehow be linked to my business, but I had no idea how you even Instagram, let alone build a business around it. I later realized that a lot of Instagram experts would say that my account was an Instagram doom. Because my account had been inactive for so long, I pretty much had no hope or any luck in ever getting out of the 200 view jail of Instagram. Many of these experts said that I should just start over, completely scrap my account, and start from scratch. But I didn't want to. I love my username, mystictwist. I didn't want to just get rid of it because some marketing expert told me it was a good idea. It didn't resonate with my very core being, my intuition, the sense of what I wanted to actually bring forth. I love the connections that I made, even though I didn't have a lot of followers. They felt really genuine and real, and I cared about these people. Sure, I could start a brand new account with a different flavor or username, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. And because it didn't resonate, I didn't do it. I'm not gonna give my power away just because some marketing guru said that I should delete my account. So I kept it, even though all the algorithm advice told me not to. So after I decided to pick up my Instagram account again after 5 years of literally no posts, I got to thinking, now what? I didn't really know where to start. So I started with one of my favorite mystical tools, the daydream. So I decided to daydream what my ideal, perfect, most beautiful Instagram account would look like and feel like. That last point is really important because how we feel about our work is critical to a mystical level and staying in integrity with ourselves. I really love beautiful Instagram grids that have these amazing pictures and color schemes and inspirational quotes, and I didn't know how to do it, but I knew I wanted to have that somehow. So I treated my Instagram grid like a feeling board or a vision board that you might use in manifestation. I knew that I wanted to express beauty with my Instagram account. And that's for a very important mystical reason. It's because beauty connects us to the world around us. When we generate that feeling of beauty, it also raises our frequency because we're literally connecting to that feeling, that expression of beauty, and it's a wonderful thing. So I really wanted my Instagram account to feel like that. I wasn't sure how I was gonna get there yet, but I had the feeling. And the feeling is the most important part of any manifestation. The next thing I did is I realized I had to change my mindset about Instagram. All of these marketing experts are talking about how to become the next biggest influencer with sponsorships, thousands if not millions of followers, and how to build your entire business around Instagram. Here's the thing, I'm not a pro influencer, and I don't expect myself to become a pro influencer overnight. So I literally had to stop comparing myself to the people who had been on Instagram for over a decade perfecting their craft. Because I became honest with myself. I was a beginner. I didn't know what I was doing. So how can I even begin to measure myself to these other people when we're just literally not even in the same league? So here's the thing. I gave myself permission to suck. I made a personal commitment to myself, not to anyone else, but to myself, which was to post every single day on Instagram. Now, I didn't say I would post anything good. I said that I would post one thing a day so that I could give myself that space to practice, to learn, to fail, to figure it out as I go. So I didn't have any crazy expectations with myself about how many followers I should get or whether I would make a sale from Instagram. I just wanted to make the commitment that I would post every single day for a year. Over time, I really started to enjoy the creative process. This surprised me because I didn't really think I was the social media type. I'm not very good at taking selfies or even realizing what people want to look at or watch on social media. But over time, my interests did start to express in a way that really surprised me. I got to blend some of my favorite interests together in one space through Instagram. I figured out some ways to use AI and technology, beautiful photography, and my mystical skills all in one place. And now I really enjoy the content creation process on Instagram. So let me show you exactly what my Instagram page looks like now. This is after about 6 months of posting nearly every day on Instagram. And I say nearly every day, which I'll talk about later in this video. So here's my Instagram profile. I'm really proud of that feeling that my Instagram gives me when I scroll through it. When I look at it, it's almost like this feeling of, wow, this is my work. This is my content. I love it. It's so beautiful. When I had first started, I never would have imagined that this would have been my account. I love how it looks, how it feels. Even if no one knows what my products or my business is about, they can get a pretty quick sense energetically or even mentally what my stuff is all about. So even though my Instagram account is far from perfect, I don't even have 500 followers yet, but I have a really high quality following base that really enjoy my content and resonate with my personal message. What I discovered over time is that the quality of your followers is what matters, not the quantity. Because if you have a very specific niche, like having a spiritual business, then you're gonna want to have folks following you that really resonate with your message. And those people who resonate with your message are gonna be your ideal clients. Next, let's talk about how to plan your content on Instagram without burning out. The way I do this begins with content pillars. Now, I was brand new to digital marketing and I didn't even know what content pillars were. Content pillars are the key themes that your brand or your message builds upon. Some examples of content pillars could be mysticism, education, embodiment, mindset. Really depends on what your specific message or business is all about. What's great about content pillars is they give you a structure so that you can start to plan your content without spinning over and over, thinking every day, now what do I post? It gives you a blueprint that aligns with your message and your frequency. I'll show you how I created my content pillars in ChatGPT and Notion. I'm a big fan of ChatGPT, so I have a paid version, but you can use any other large language model or LLM that you would like to do this very same thing. So first what I did, and I'm literally showing you the exact chat where I created my content pillars, is I inputted my business plan, my mission statement, my purpose, all into ChatGPT, and then it spat out my content pillars for me. So here's what ChatGPT came up with, which I really resonated with from a content creation process that aligns with my spiritual entrepreneurship and my goals as a business owner. First, I've recommended that I teach educational content. I love this because I'm a teacher and that perfectly aligns and resonates with what I want to do with my content and my business. It even gave me some ideas about what type of content I can create and how this works from a strategic level for building the business. The prompt that I used even created some ideas for products that you can make that perfectly match into your strategy for your social media content. The next content pillar that I use is about authority. This is really common in establishing yourself as an expert to your audience. This is where you share your personal wins, your unique qualifications, or what makes you the expert in whatever your niche is or what you're teaching or facilitating through your business. I also really love inspirational content, so I made sure to have an inspirational pillar in my content strategy. So inspirational content is motivational, it can be story driven, it can have beautiful quotes or imagery. There's a lot that you can do with inspirational content, but I found that it really aligned nicely with the message that I like to bring forth into my content about embodying your highest frequency or walking that path of personal empowerment or enlightenment. So of course, I'm gonna have content that's inspiring. Plus, I just feel like there's so much fear and nasty stuff in the world. I really wanted to make sure that I was one of those people that was spreading the light through inspirational words and content that others can enjoy. My fourth content pillar is all about mystical integration. If you've seen any of my content before, whether on Instagram or YouTube, then you'll see that I often will weave mystical teachings into my work. This is one of my biggest niches in my business. It's literally in my name, on my Instagram handle, and it's a very important pillar in my content strategy as a business. It also helps me differentiate between my mystical work with some of the other content pillars that might be important or necessary to talk about every once in a while as part of the overall business strategy of my work. My last content pillar talks about marketing, course creation, and basically the nuts and bolts behind the business side of creating a spiritual entrepreneur lifestyle. So when I'm giving tactical advice about how to create an online course or how to use AI to speed up your production processes, this is the pillar where all of that content goes under. Next, what I do is I saved the content pillars from ChatGPT and put it into my Notion content planner. If you're new to Notion, basically it's like a wiki or Google Doc workspace that you can create in the cloud. It's really nice, really versatile, and has a lot of tools and functionality that you can't get anywhere else. So next, what I do is I use my content pillars to help me create content for my Instagram profile. So what I do next is I make sure that the AI tailors the content to my specific content pillars and the unique message that I bring. ChatGPT can be really helpful in giving you a head start on creating content. It's kind of like having your own AI assistant to help you think about ideas as a thought partner. Now, I use AI as a starting point, never as a final draft, because it's never going to be exactly perfect or aligned to your message, but it definitely gives you a huge advantage if you start to do it ahead of time. So I'm going to reverse engineer how I created this gorgeous post on Instagram with the use of AI. So as you can see, I have the text here, this beautiful image, and a caption on the right-hand side. Back in ChatGPT, I told it that I wanted to create a tweet style post similar to one that I'd done in the past. I made sure that the content aligned with my unique content pillars. So I've given my AI bot the prompts to create content according to my content pillars that I just showed you before. And it came out with some pretty good copy or content that I could put on this post. What resonated for me at the time was this, because I've been working on my emotional body recently, and I wanted to make sure that I post content that always resonates with where I'm at. So this was the first draft that I got from ChatGPT. I copy and paste it and I put it into my Canva. Now, if you've never used Canva before, it's an amazing graphic design tool. It's free to use, really intuitive, and it's basically a non-designer's best friend. So I have a lot of templates all within the same place where I post and create all of my content. I like having it all in one place so that I can easily copy and paste and reuse everything over time. Over here, this is where I have those tweet style posts. So what I did is I literally copy and pasted this text from ChatGPT and put it into my Canva. It's not exactly the same as what ChatGPT, although it's very, very similar. And what I do is I scan and make sure it resonates and that aligns with my message. So what I did at the bottom here is I added this here because it wasn't exactly resonant with what I was trying to say. In the polished and finalized version, I said the more you work with your body and trust your inner guidance, the less you'll need external validation, versus the more you trust your inner guidance, the less you'll need external validation. I really wanted to make the distinction here that your physical body is its own being and someone you need to work with. So it's a very subtle difference, but it's an important part to my spiritual teachings, as well as staying in integrity with my content over time. So you might be wondering where I got this gorgeous photo. I personally like to use content from Deposit Photos. Deposit Photo is like any other typical stock photo catalog or repository online. There's a lot of other ones that you can use, but personally, I like to have the paid plan for Deposit Photos because I find their content really high quality and I don't need to worry about commercial usage or infringing on intellectual property rights. So often what I'll do is I will search for something that kind of elicits that feeling out of the post that I'm creating and match it with the frequency or the energy behind the message. So since this post is about connecting with your body, trusting your inner guidance, working with your emotions, I wanted to have this serene vibe where it's almost like you're at a spa or cleansing your body after a long day or doing a session of energy work. So I think I literally searched sage cleanse and then started to search and look for what images really resonated with me over time. And you can see that there are just some gorgeous photos on here that I really, really love. And I found the one that I really enjoyed the most and put it in Canva, which ultimately became my post that I ended up posting on Instagram. Now it doesn't end there. When I make my post on Instagram, this is the text for the post, but I also need text for the caption, as well as relevant hashtags or other information that's on the right-hand side of the screen. Now, mind you, I have already trained my bot to align with my voice, my brand, as well as have a specific pattern that I want for all of my captions, including a hook, a reflection or story transformation, and a call to action. And this is what came out. I really enjoyed what I saw here. It aligned well with the image and the feeling of what my post is about. So most of this I just simply copy and pasted, put it into my caption, and post it away. Now, like always, make sure that you edit and read whatever comes out of ChatGPT, because it might not always be accurate or even align with your specific brand or your message. What I was surprised about, because I've trained ChatGPT so well to my tone and my brand, most of the content that comes out, I don't have to do a lot of editing with. So much of this I personally relate to or have experienced on a day-to-day basis. So I have no problem posting this even though it came from AI, because it aligns and resonates with my real experience. And this is where posting with integrity is so important to your work if you're a spiritual entrepreneur. But that doesn't mean that you can't post in resonance or in high frequency, even if you're using AI to help you get there. So that's a very quick version of how I have used AI and other tech tools to help make my content creation process easier, but also more inspiring, beautiful, and in alignment with my goals as a spiritual entrepreneur. So batch creation is when you basically find a time during your day or your week and you plan, let's say 5 or 10 posts ahead of time. And that way you can save them or schedule them to post later in the week so that you don't have to do it every single day. And it's a great way to save time as well as plan out your strategy. So generally, here's how it works. Pick one day a week. Maybe it's a new moon or it's in alignment with your natural life cycles. Maybe it's a new moon or it's during a time of day where you naturally have a lot of energy and inspiration to work with. And then you focus a couple of hours dedicated to just creating content. This is where you write, you record, you brainstorm, and you make sure you have a really focused set number of hours where you can go deep into your creative process. Going back to Notion, what I like to do is I like to plan out my content strategy according to what I plan ahead of time. So here's an example of a content calendar that I've created using Notion. As you can see, it aligns really nicely with my content and marketing pillars that I showed you before, all created in using AI. Then I put together this database to help me get a perspective of where my content can go and how I can plan it across many of my channels, not just on Instagram, but also YouTube, Threads, email, and in other places that are important to my social media or marketing strategies. Now, I've given myself a weekly posting schedule. It doesn't always follow the schedule, but it's something that I'm still practicing and working towards. Because one thing that I found as a mystic and also as a PhD is my scientific or academic brain really likes to have things structured and planned out ahead of time. You could also argue it's my Capricorn moon that really likes doing that. But as a Sun Pisces, and as a mystic, I know that sometimes we have to go with the flow of energies, and although we might put it in our schedule, doesn't mean it always happens. So sometimes I find myself creating content in batches and planning it out according to schedule, and other times I find myself taking a pause because maybe my energies just aren't quite there, or the content that I'm posting doesn't align with how I'm feeling or even what's coming up at an energetic level at that moment. Still, I found it really helpful to just even have a high-level picture of what my content strategy can look like in a marketing calendar, so it can bring some perspective to what I'm trying to achieve over time. This way, when I'm really struggling, when my energy is low, or when I'm on my cycle, or something else is happening in my life that's really distracting and disabling me from creating high-quality content, if I have batched content that I can use, that's great, but sometimes I don't always have the luxury of being able to create content when my mood is just right. So having a content strategy and a content calendar in place can really help you get there. Now, I haven't perfected this by any means, but I have found a workflow that really works for me. So I encourage you to practice and try yourself what resonates for you. Are you the type of person that has to feel into the energies on a daily basis and see what to post because of what's coming up for you at the time? I know a lot of the times I do, but also that might not work with your lifestyle. If you've got a full-time job or family or other responsibilities, sometimes it's not always feasible to spend an hour or two every day making a beautiful post or creating content just so you can stay on track to your business goals. So that's where creating batch content can be really helpful and also carves out dedicated creative time for you to be successful. So when it comes to growing your Instagram account, it's really important that you find a strategy that works for you in an authentic and creative way. In my experience, real growth doesn't come from the algorithm. Although it can definitely help, it's not the only answer to having a successful business on Instagram. And if you're a spiritual entrepreneur like me, you'll know the power of what a community and having authentic connection can do for your business. So if you want your dream clients to come and find you, you need to give them an authentic connection that resonates with them. You have to give them something real to connect with. So how I do this is I show up, I make myself available, I respond to comments, I send voice notes and DMs. I show up in stories like I'm talking to a friend, not pitching a product. Not that there's anything wrong with pitching a product. It's just for my personal style and what I'm trying to achieve in my niche, I want to show up as my authentic, mystical self. I really like using features on Instagram like polls and carousels, as well as questions to engage with my audience. Your audience wants to feel seen. They want to connect with you. And if you're an expert, they're going to want to learn from you, but you have to give them a way to connect. That's what keeps them coming back. So if you're wondering what content is the most shareable or what goes the most viral, it's not the trendiest, it's the truest. It's the post where you got vulnerable. It's the one where you shared a client win. The one where your energy was 100% behind your message. People feel that. And energy is everything, literally. So here's something that I teach my coaching clients. Your intuition is your content compass. If something feels off, don't post it. If you're not in the space to create content because you're triggered or upset, or maybe just energetically drained, don't do it. I know there's a lot of hustle culture where pushing through is glorified, and that's totally fine. But for me and my personal lifestyle and what I feel is important to my integrity or even my energy as a business owner, I really want to make sure that everything I post is in full resonance and high frequency. So let's be honest, Instagram can be a portal of connection or it can be an energy vortex of doom. Before you scroll, set an intention. Before you post, get into pristine energy. I like to use my light staff and boom light into the world and get my energy pristine before I post. I like to get into pristine energy before I post so that I make sure I'm coming from the highest frequency space as possible. Why? Because your energy infuses your posts, and you really don't want to infuse your posts with negativity, triggers, or low frequency garbage if you can help it. And I know you can help it. So if social media or content creation feels heavy, pause. In some cases, step away. This is the perfect time to go outside, take a walk, ground your feet in the grass, touch a tree, take a salt bath, cleanse your space, connect with Gaia, do whatever you need to elevate your frequency and get into a better place. In the past, I've talked about how I made a commitment to myself to post once a day on social media to just see how it would go and what would happen if I did it for a year. Now, to be honest, there have been some days that I've missed. I chose not to post because my energy wasn't in the right place and I didn't create content in advance that I could post. So I made a decision to not post and stay in integrity rather than posting something that was rushed or made in a low frequency state, because it's really important to me that my content really reflects the energy that I'm trying to bring to the world. This is where those content pillars and batched content that you make ahead of time can really come in handy. Although I haven't perfected it yet, this is definitely something that I've learned that helps manage my energy and helps me create high quality content on Instagram without burning myself out or feeling overwhelmed. As a spiritual entrepreneur, your frequency and your integrity matters more than your visibility or hacking the algorithm. You're allowed to unfollow accounts that don't resonate with you or maybe even trigger you. You're allowed to take breaks from social media and not explain or defend yourself as to why you're taking a break. Instagram is a tool and you decide how it's used. So let's support your mission and not sabotage your energy. So if you're ready to build your Instagram without burnout or overwhelm, I've created a special Instagram content planner for lightworkers just like you. It includes my signature Content Pillars ChatGPT prompts, my processing exercises that I use to get into a high frequency state before I post, and a 30-day post idea calendar for lightworkers. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. This is the exact system that I use to maintain my energy when I'm creating content on Instagram. I hope that these tools are useful for you to maintain a high frequency state, organize your content so it doesn't overwhelm you, while also protecting your energy so you can focus it where it really matters. So let's make social media feel good again. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, leave a comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!